Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mother May I podcast with Frank and Irene. I'm Frank Conniff, and this is the lovely and brilliant Irene Bremis.
Wow.
How you doing, Irene?
I'm hanging in there, Frank. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good.
Are you still doing your activity of taking the long walks in the beautiful city?
Yeah, I have been taking a long walk. I did have kind of a period about a week ago where I was devoid of any energy whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
That happens to me every now and then. Since my surgery, where every now and then I just have to feel like shit for a few days, I think.
Well,
Yeah. And, but I'm feeling better now, and I went for a 3-mile walk yesterday, so that was good.
Damn
up to Central Park and back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. 3 miles.
Yeah, I think I'm a mile from Central Park, and then it's a mile back, and then I walked in Central Park for about a mile. So I think that was 3 miles.
3 miles. And let me just say this, and I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again, okay? Frank doesn't just walk. The fucker is on rollerblades. I'm sorry, Frank, but you walk very fast, okay? So if you're doing I couldn't keep up with you. I'm telling you right now. But I'm glad that you're feeling better and your energy's back.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I am. And, I think sometimes I get, because as we were talking before about the low-lying depression, I think that sometimes affects me physically. You know what I mean? Where the depression, it manifests itself in kind of making you feel like you have the flu or something, I think everybody is dealing with that these days.
It is a low grade depression, and sometimes I just have this inexplicable anxiety, and I don't know where it's coming from. I have this anxiety.
Right.
Do you get that? Like this feeling?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
And
just waking up is very hard for me. It's this is whether it's the pandemic or any time in my life, the moment I wake up, like, I'm always depressed. I have to get out of bed, and then if I take a shower and have some caffeine, then I feel better and everything is okay. And as the day goes on, I'm better. And then by the time I get to the nighttime, then I feel fine. When I'm up in the middle of the night, no matter what I'm going through in my life, I'm always feel peaceful, like very late at night.
Oh, really? That's amazing.
Yes.
Now, see, I might have let me think about that. Okay, late at night, I feel
my favorite
anxious.
time.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the daytime that makes me anxious. The nighttime is like everything just seems peaceful. And
Right. And I do wake up sometimes in a panic myself or depression, and I don't even know where this anxiety is coming from. We talked about therapy, and I feel like, I really need to get back into therapy because, I see when I go, even just going to my therapist's office once a week, it just gives my day, my week structure, like I'm doing something to help my mental health outside of exercising,
Well, my therapist told me not to come within 6 feet of my feelings. So I'm trying to keep that social distance. But you know what, though? We have a great guest today, so I think we should bring him on.
Yes, let's do that.
Shall we do that?
Yes.
And it is our pleasure right now to bring on someone, a good friend of both of ours. You might know him from Tell Me Everything with John Fugelsang on the Sirius satellite network every night at 9, and various VH1 things and a million other current TV and just nonstop great things throughout a brilliant career, and we're lucky to be his friend, and we're lucky to have him with us right now. Ladies and gentlemen, John Fugelsang. Give it up. Yay.
Mr. Fugelsang.
Can you hear us? John? Are you hearing us?
I hear you now. Sorry, I was engaged in conversation.
Oh, that's nice. You missed your thanks a lot. We're in the Zoom bit.
Yeah.
And by the way, you missed your swooning intro from Frank.
Oh, I totally missed it because I didn't have any audio yet. Oh my. Well, thank you, Frank. I appreciate I appreciate your pity. It means a lot. Thank you.
I'm happy to give it. I'm happy to give my pity at any moment of the day. You look like you're in there. I think I've been where you are, and you're the backyard of your fabulous Upper West Side apartment, right?
I can
Yes,
see it.
yes. I'm sitting out back and just enjoying being outside without taking my life into my hands, eating food at an outdoor sidewalk cafe in New York.
That's right.
We're wearing masks to protect ourselves, but let's also 2 feet away on the same sidewalk shovel things into our mouths from plates just delivered from places we can't see.
Right. Okay. I might be guilty. I might have gone out for a snack.
I've done it twice.
Okay, you have. Okay, so what's
there's 3 states? Only 3 states have passed the five guidelines for safe reopening. I mean, like 5 months ago, we were the worst in the world, and now we're one of 3 states in America that's actually safe.
It's because we did what we needed to do before, and when I go out on the street, everybody is wearing a mask, and I hated wearing a mask. I didn't want to do it, and now I do it all the time. And you know what? It does suck, but you just get used to it, and you don't think about it after a while.
Exactly. Try training an 8-year-old to do it. My God.
I bet.
It's not bad, guys. It's also like when you think about the mask, it also will protect us from like other viruses, like the common cold, like other things, like
it protects
the flu,
from everything.
From everything.
I'm sharing needles now.
Yeah.
I'm sharing needles because I wear a mask. I've never felt safer.
That's great.
Right.
Yes.
That's
Listen,
Very
we can't
safe.
we can't live in fear. I'm sharing needles. I'm back to huffing paint.
I have to warn people that you can take heroin, but because of social distancing, you can't take the kind that's so good that it's like kissing God, because you shouldn't be kissing God.
You can't. I mean, God hasn't been tested yet. It's really hard.
No.
Even he has to wait 8 days. He's not used to waiting more than 6.
Now, John, I see you're wearing a Bob Dylan shirt. I didn't know you were into him. I'm kidding.
That album and Judy Gold's book about political comedy have been the 2 things that have saved my sanity this whole summer.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Frank.
I'm just saying, so you're liking the new Bob Dylan album then? Huh?
Oh, it's his 4th great comeback album of his career. And not every song is great, but it is a great album. The fact that he's 79 and he still had this much to say and this many jokes to tell and this much weird pop culture references to drop. I love the 17-minute song about JFK and most of the rest of the album is at that level.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Is the song about JFK, is it just him or is there a second guitarist?
There's a second pianist, actually, and it's Fiona Apple. She plays on that song.
Really? Oh, I love Fiona Apple. That's
she's
awesome.
on that song. But I like that song because that's the song I sing when I'm washing my hands to make sure I've done it thoroughly. It's just under 17 minutes on the record. I've got it down to 15, singing it quickly.
Now, is it true that Jacob Dylan has a song about JFK Jr.?
Yes.
That's about the 10,000th time you've heard me do that joke. So
no, that's an all-new variation on the same old joke, Frank. I really appreciate that. Yes, JFK Jr., and he's just put out his album of Frank Sinatra Jr. covers.
That's awesome. Yeah, that was the joke I did like when I was on your radio show, every show about the Frank Sinatra Jr. tribute.
You guys, I miss you guys. Look at you back together again. This is amazing. John.
I miss you. I didn't know you lived in a European film. Your place is beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you. It's the bedroom. And it is not bad here, and I'm happy to say that when I leave the house, and Staten Island is very prudent about wearing their masks. They're very responsible. I see everybody wearing a mask. So I finally feel safe here. Except for the hurricane that hit and all the trees fell down. That was an awful thing.
I know. That
was unbelievable. We almost got pummeled by trees. It was crazy.
I left my apartment and there's so many trees on the sidewalk on my street. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, it didn't even feel like it was. Imagine the damage, like a very strong Category 4 hurricane or whatever we had.
Yeah, that's all we need. Now, John, what's I know you're still doing your show every night. You're still right on top of everything that's going on in the world. So what's really at the forefront of your mind right now in terms of, there's so much to talk about, but what have you kind of been obsessing about in terms of?
I mean, it's, this is what I call what the fuck fatigue. This is every, our outrage circuits are burned out. We used to remember when things happened one at a time and not all at once. I mean,
Right.
you really can't keep track. Like, it's so hard to be a political comedian because you're writing jokes about John Bolton's book today, and 2 weeks later, whose book? What? So
Yeah.
it's so relentless. The incompetence and the venality and the stupidity and the criminality and corruption. I mean, it was pretty big hearing Letitia James want to dissolve the NRA.
I know, I
using the
saw
Trump
that.
Foundation,
I saw that today, yeah.
using the dissolution of the Trump Foundation as legal precedent, which I thought was an especially nice little knife twisty move.
Mhm.
Obviously, what's going on with the Postal Service is very, very scary. They're right out in the open trying to rig everything. The postmaster is already, deliberately slowing down mail delivery. And it's quite
I
deliberate,
know.
and it's setting a precedent for the fall. This is a guy, this reality show racist clown who he's the most tested man in America, but there's too many tests. His kid isn't going to school in the
I
fall,
know.
but your kid has to.
Right.
Everyone should wear a mask, but he's not going to.
Right.
And mail-in ballots are fraud, except he did it in 2017, 2018, 2020. It's almost like he's a complete hypocrite who's used to being surrounded by suck-ups and employees who say yes to everything he says.
Yeah.
It's just it's a
He's
stunning
awful.
time.
Even with TikTok and Facebook is still allowed to prevail. It's so gross because they helped him win. They colluded with the last election.
I think he's doing that for Zuckerberg. I think he wants to ban TikTok as a quid pro quo for Zuckerberg.
Isn't it amazing? You remember that movie, The Social Network? Aaron Sorkin wrote. It was pretty brilliant, but now we look back on it historically. Zuckerberg doesn't come off as nearly big enough of a dick in it as he turned out to be. He seems like a total dick in the movie, but they were just scratching the surface. And what a horrible fascist he ended up being.
I agree.
His collaborator, his own guest, how do you pronounce her name? Garcia. Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell.
No, Ghislaine's a website. Ghislaine's a website with videos. But go on.
Sheryl Sandberg. they're horrible people.
Yeah, I wouldn't call Zuckerberg a fascist because fascists have to believe in something. You know what I mean? And Zuckerberg, like Trump, just believes in himself and his own comfort and ease and profit. So I don't know if fascists have to have ideologies. And I don't really know if Zuckerberg has any. He would suck up to Obama. He'll suck up to whoever helps him out. But I do believe that this whole thing on TikTok is all quid pro quo for Zuckerberg, although they just shut down a whole bunch of fake Blacks for Trump sites again today on Facebook. So, I mean, who knows? But I think we need a cabinet position level of Secretary of Facts. I really do. At this point.
How is Trump doing in Farmville? Does anybody know?
Well, I don't know how he's doing in Farmville, but his mafia family is going to rot him out to the feds.
Well, John, you know what? I love your videos because I feel like your videos, I watched, you sent me the one a while back, right? And I loved it. I thought it was so amazing. Your jokes seamlessly fit in. It's historical. It's smart. It's funny. But I just this morning saw the other one, the mullet. What is it called?
Pandemic mullet.
And
that might be the name of the whole special. I'm not sure.
Fucking loved it. I'm telling you, John, I absolutely love the black and white. I love the narration. I love what you're saying. It's really amazing. And I feel like you found a way to combine all your amazing talents into one video. I really, really loved it.
Thank you.
No, I mean it. It's great.
That whole beginning is it's a parody of Woody Allen's Open to Manhattan, like straight up ripoff. And it just turned out that Rhapsody in Blue became public domain this year.
Oh, did it really? Wow.
That's why there's never been a parody of the opening of Manhattan before, because Rhapsody in Blue wasn't popular, and now Woody Allen isn't. So I did that.
Exactly.
I paid a pianist in Texas to record Rhapsody in Blue, and I didn't know what to do. I had 3 tours planned for this year, in addition to all the one-off dates I was going to do. I mean, Frank and I were doing one-off dates in the fall and winter, and I was planning on being on the road every weekend for 2020. I mean, Donald Trump, God bless him, he paid for my child to go to preschool, and I was looking forward to another election year windfall off of him.
No, I don't know. That guy that predicts presidents, what's his name? Do you guys know the prediction guy? He said Biden's going to win. Of course we can't.
He did. He was wrong last time, though. He predicted Trump would get the popular vote last time.
Yeah.
But like, it was getting very frustrating, and I wanted to perform or do something. And then the Sexy Liberal tour, I just launched this tour with Lewis Black, and then a Sexy Liberal tour said they wanted to do like a pay-per-view show, and everyone had to do a video. And I thought, well, I don't want to just sit at my desk with my putty-colored walls and bookshelf behind me like a MSNBC refugee center guest. So we went on the street and filmed. I tried to do a stand-up set on the empty streets of quarantined New York. And we did a 20-minute little film. It was very well received. And then, my plan was to make a special for the fall. And I've shot about an hour so far. And, but every month I'm doing like a 15 to 20-minute, mini version for the Stephanie Miller tour. And so the second one that I sent you, Irene, with the Woody Allen parody was about how the reopening is actually scarier to me than the quarantine. And then I almost got killed doing it.
Oh my God. Okay, John, hold on a second. Let's just back up for a second. Okay. I couldn't believe it. I thought, wow, how lucky for the film, how sad for John. I mean, you missed that shot. I didn't know that you got hit by a car. Frank, did you know that John got hit by?
I did. I did hear that. And I'm glad to see that you're okay.
Thank God he's okay. But he has the footage.
That is not good social distancing. I just
No, but it was his fault, in fairness. He was the one not social distancing. And I was on a bike. I was filming. I was shooting. I was biking down the Bowery, and holding my phone and shooting this row of murals on the right. And then there was the cars parked on the sidewalk on the curb. So I was holding my phone up high, and then the next thing I knew, I was in an ambulance in a neck brace.
I mean, he has this footage, and it's really incredible. I didn't know if it was staged or not. Honestly, I didn't know if he really got hit. But then I looked, he's in the ambulance, and then he has the footage from the hospital too.
Yeah. No, it was all real. It was very scary.
Yeah,
I've been to hospitals a lot for other people, but not really for me. And I've always been very lucky in that regard. And I was incredibly lucky here because I wasn't knocked unconscious. I thought I was, but later I saw photographs of me standing up and picking up my bike. I've never blacked out in my life. And I was in the ambulance, and I said to the EMTs, I don't want to go to an emergency room. Because what have we known here in New York for the past 5 months? The one place you don't want to be is the emergency room. If you're in labor, don't go. Gunshot wound, don't go. Your appendix burst, don't go to an emergency room. And the EMT said, sir, you got hit by a truck and it knocked you into a parked vehicle. You have to go. And I was in a neck brace, and I tried to reason with him. I said, gentlemen, I can move all my extremities. Clearly, I'm okay. And
but you might have internal. You don't know that for sure. You have to have testing.
Well, I was also in shock. I thought if I said extremities, they'd let me go because they think, oh, he's lucid and verbose. Let this guy out. And I got to the emergency room, and it was terrifying. And they gave me another COVID test, and they sent me up for CAT scans and X-rays. And the thing was, the emergency room was empty. Not completely, but the area where they stuck me was totally empty. And I realized that's what a flattened curve looks like. Empty beds in an emergency room and an ICU. And I wound up, and I was fine. I had bumps and cuts and bruises, but nothing serious. And I walked out about 2.5 hours later and got a cab. It was my first time getting a cab in 5 months. And I wound up just being so incredibly grateful that the people of New York led in ways that the president, who is not a leader but is a boss, can't lead.
Yeah, it just goes to show you what we would have had if we had, and not that Cuomo was flawless in his leadership, but if we had on a national scale what we had here in New York, the whole country would be so much better off right now. We'd be so much closer to, and right now the rest of the country, or a lot of the rest of the country, is in that chaotic place where we were, a few months ago. And,
there's three things a leader has to do during this, right?
You have to work as a team.
The leader has to comfort the people, tell the people to listen to experts, and don't keep on complimenting yourself. Those are the only three things. And we got a guy who can't do those three. Yeah. All Joe Biden has to do is say, folks, I'm Joe Biden, and I didn't have to tear gas a church full of nonviolent protesters to get here, God damn it. Right. All Biden's got to do is stand in front of a row of flags every day in his own press conference, say, here's a doctor, listen to him, and then not compliment himself. It's not that difficult.
Yeah, well, but the thing is Trump doesn't really, the fact that people are suffering and dying, Trump genuinely doesn't care about that.
No, he doesn't.
It really does not cross his mind.
No.
And that's why I think the whole pandemic hasn't sunk in for him. And he's willing to just make up shit about it all the time.
He's a sociopath.
Yeah, he is a sociopath.
He is.
And he turns it into a fantasy. And he's, you know, and all these people in the media who are waiting, what's his strategy going to be? Is he going to pivot now? Is he going to get more serious about it? Like, they completely misunderstand the fact that he's a sociopath and he doesn't give a shit about people dying, and he's not living in reality.
Frank, giving a shit about people dying has nothing to do with winning.
Well,
you just give away your loser mentality. Your empathy is why you're not a winner, Frank. Don't you understand this? I mean, literally, he's the first
really
president
have to
ever.
Shut down that heart, Frank. Yeah.
Every president we've ever had, even Bush, who still might be worse than this guy. Every president says, you know, an appeal to the better angels of our nature, that we can be such good people here in America. Trump is the first president to come out and say, look at me, folks. I'm a big racist asshole, and I'm just happy about it. And look how awesome my life is. I mean, he's emboldened the racists. Racists were always here, but now the racists are coming out of the holes and being proud of it because they have a leader.
Trump tried to grab the pussies of the better angels of his nature, and it didn't work out.
He's a sociopathic tyrant. He doesn't have a heart. He doesn't have empathy. He's a narcissist. He needs to go. Okay, so
those are the good qualities.
You're trying, and those are the great qualities, exactly. So
but you know, we have to
can't have any expectations.
We have to, you know, I mean, there were a lot of people who were hoping, like the Attorney General's announcement today would be some indictment of Trump. You know, a lot of people are holding on to the idea that he's going to get indicted, he's going to go to jail, and that this is all going to be fixed somehow that way. The only way this is going to be fixed is on November 3rd. There's no other way.
Vote.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I don't really care if he goes to jail. What I care about is having a president who is not corrupt, not compromised, and believes in science. Because climate change is still a bigger threat to all of us than COVID-19 is. And, you know, like Noam Chomsky and Angela Davis are voting for Biden. It's not because Biden is so awesome. It's because Trump has to be gotten out of there, and we have to just get to baseline decency. And then our job is, once Biden's in there, to kick Biden's ass every day.
Right,
and
push
hold his
the
feet to the
agenda,
fire,
right, exactly.
and criticize him when it's warranted. And, you know, I mean, I kind of woke up yesterday and I realized, oh, wow, all this Trump material is going to be extinct in 5 months. And
Thank
I'm
God.
okay with it. Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Thank God. I want it all to go away. I don't want to have to, I don't want him, I don't want there to have to be any more Trump comedy. It's exhausting.
Remember,
because in some way we're still in power. Like, I really believe that. Like, once he goes, we want to erase all imprints. Well, we won't be able to do that, but at least we're not going to be injecting the universe, if you will, with the negativity of his memory and all the shit that he did.
But once he goes, the worst, we can't do it. Democrats, I'm not a Democrat, but
no, I know
I always vote for them. But like, the worst thing that we can do is do what we always do when a Democrat wins and check out and not pay attention and not show up to support that Democratic president.
And also, as opposed to what Obama and Biden did after Bush, where they said, let's all move on. Let's not indict any of these people. Let's not hold any of these people accountable for what they did during the Bush administration. I think that would be a big mistake if they did that in light of the Trump administration.
But there's 2 points. They might still indict him before he leaves office, and I think that Cy Vance should, because it doesn't say anywhere in the Constitution that a sitting president can't be indicted. The DOJ has just decided this, and I think that's rubbish.
It doesn't say. I didn't know that, actually.
Paula Jones was allowed to bring her civil suit against Bill Clinton while in office, and I see no reason why. I think it should be a campaign issue. I think there should be a debate over. Trump fans should have to say whether he should be indicted for his crimes before he leaves office, or whether he should not be indicted for his crimes while still in office, and they should have to come down on one side of that. But my second big point, and it's the biggest, is Trump could still win this. I mean, he's going to cheat like we've never seen anyone cheat before.
Absolutely.
The fact that Democrats believe in science is good long-term for their life. It's not good long-term. It's not good short-term for the election, because Donald Trump is more than willing to have you show up and vote for him and then die, right? As Frank said, he doesn't care about his own supporters. But I'm telling you guys, the racists are going to be out there voting. The Trump people are all going to show up unafraid of a Democratic hoax virus, and they're going to all show up and vote. So the most important thing for people who want to get them out, especially older people who don't want to be there on Election Day, I can't wait to see an Election Day with no one over 70 to work the voting sites, by the way. But the message, there's two messages we got to think of. One is vote early, and the other is get 10 people to get 10 people to vote early. Because
that's right. Yep.
Come down to 6 states. They're already trying to cheat with mail-in ballots, with the Postal Service deliberately announcing that they're slowing down. I mean, the post office delivers 2 billion Christmas cards every year, but they're telling us that 150 million ballots might break the whole system. And the fix is in. The gerrymandering is cheating. Voter ID laws are cheating.
Voter suppression.
Russia's going to help them cheat.
Colluding.
The Mexican fear is cheating. The Electoral College is cheating. They have so many ways to do it, and they're going to do it this year. And I see a lot of people really enjoying this Joe Biden poll porn. And
I hate that. Yes, it's way too early. It was way too early on the day of election. We cannot we can't get complacent and really believe.
We have to every day. Like there was the Rasmussen poll that came out a couple days ago, and it had Trump at 51%. And then people were going, "Oh, that's bullshit." And I said, "I love this poll. I want every poll to be like that. I want people to think that it's urgent to defeat Trump and that he's ahead and he's winning. We should go forward with that attitude as opposed to
Rasmussen calls landlines. They go for older voters, and older voters will vote." So, it's the young people that we're depending on the future, these young people who are going to give a single payer and fix climate change. They got to vote.
And they didn't. And, the young people, a lot of them didn't vote like for Bernie in the primary.
Exactly.
They didn't come out and vote for him. And
they're not registered Democrats.
They have to, I have confidence that they'll come out and vote, but everybody has to be, of all ages, everybody has to be reminded that's a really important thing.
We all have to be reminded of how he handled COVID, okay? He doesn't care about humanity at all. He doesn't care about our children. He doesn't care. I don't even have children. He doesn't care about children. He doesn't care about us. He doesn't care about humanity.
Well, you actually, you don't have any, I don't have any children either, but you and I both have better relationship with Barron than he does.
Oh, so, of course. Yeah, exactly.
Trump keeps calling Matt Gaetz Barron accidentally.
Yeah, he can't even remember his name at the 9/11 thing. So much for never forget. That's what I think. Like, he's just seriously, come on. If
I could interview Trump, my first question would be, where was Barack Obama born? My second question would be, please tell me your children's birthdays.
Yeah,
I don't think
that's a lot.
And his response to that would be man, woman, camera, TV, person. See, I'm smart.
See,
yeah, so one thing Trump has taught me, bragging that you passed your dementia test only tells the rest of us that they made you take a dementia test. Exactly.
That's exactly right. Oh my God. This is, but I agree, Frank. We need that momentum. At the same time, though, we need not to get complacent, because I remember when my heart was broken, I was absolutely certain that Hillary was going to win. I was on John's show, and I almost died that night. I know that was horrible.
That was horrible. And I also want to point out too that everybody needs to really pay attention to their local races too, to the Senate and the Congress and the Assembly. And if the Senate flips and if the House becomes more progressive, all of these things that people want, like Medicare for all and stuff like that, is going to be much more possible, and will actually will tip Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi and Charles Schumer in that direction, because those people go by, what is in the air and what is the win, and they might not be, like Joe Biden might not be the best advocate for Medicare for all because he's never supported it, but I believe he would support it if the political pressure was on him to do so. And the way to make that happen is not through the presidency, but through the Senate and through the Congress and through state legislatures.
If there's anything that all the reforms we've seen in police precincts nationwide after the largest civil rights protest in the history of this country, it's that when the people lead, the leaders are forced to follow.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing it with
Exactly.
COVID. We're seeing it with police brutality.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw in an emergency room because, people came together. And yes, we did have leadership. Cuomo just did the basic competency test and showed up, gave us true advice, changed that as the science changed. Trump shows up and gets praised for being presidential because he didn't whip his dick out in a press conference. And my biggest fear
How do we know he didn't whip his dick out? It's not
correct.
large. You can't see it.
It's a very narrow podium. But my biggest fear is that the true collusion, and you know this, Frank, is Donald Trump and the media. I don't mean journalists. I don't mean journalists. I mean the people who write the journalist checks. Because boring, steady Joe is not going to be as good for newspaper circulation or television ratings as garbage fire. So, I do believe that there are interests in this country, not journalists, but the news media, that will give up these Trump ratings when you pry them from our cold dead hands.
Yeah.
And believe me, because Biden they will magnify every gaffe Joe Biden makes so hugely to try to appear that they're balanced.
Just like they did with Hillary, and although what Biden has going for him is that he's not a woman, so the coverage of him is not nearly as negative as it was for Hillary Clinton.
The Democrats have not. I mean, Democrats have not run a white male in 16 years. You're right. It's a whoever his vice presidential pick is, and I'm rooting for Kamala
Harris.
But whoever it is, it's going to be a woman, and you're going to see a ton of misogyny coming from the media.
Oh, absolutely.
There already is, and this isn't even from the media. This is just from the douchebag Chris Dodd or whatever. These old white guys who were advising Trump, who thought that
Biden,
who are advising Biden, who are like, oh, Kamala, she seems like she's too ambitious. She doesn't smile enough,
Oh, God.
Well, that's not what Chris Dodd said, but I agree with you. I picked Kamala. I called it for Biden-Harris, Frank. You remember in February of 2017 on the air, I said it's going to be Biden-Harris, the most likely. And, that takes away, for everything progressives don't like about them, they know that that's what makes white people in the Midwest feel safe with them. So Kamala Harris having a history as a prosecutor who put people away for nonviolent drug offenses, that upsets liberals. That helps replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg with somebody who's going to care about women's rights. Kamala Harris's decadence to liberals helps getting a policy that believes the accepted science on climate change. So throwing liberals under the brake float is what Democrats always do. And liberals get so angry about it. And I understand why, because progress is always so slow. That's been the history of this entire species. But I mean, come on, man. Biden wasn't my top choice, wasn't in my top three.
He wasn't mine either.
Noam Chomsky and Angela freaking Davis have endorsed Joe Biden.
Right.
I mean, stop the bleeding and then complain about your tourniquet.
And I've seen a lot of Bernie bros really pissed off that Bernie Sanders supports Joe Biden very enthusiastically.
Well, you know what? Most of the people I've talked to who refuse to ever vote for Joe Biden because they're so pure, they don't have uteruses. That's what I know.
Exactly.
I take the time to remind every one of them of two things. You don't have a uterus, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg is 176 years old. By the way, it's getting hotter. You notice that?
Yeah.
I get it. I voted for Nader a couple of times myself, but I voted for Nader in a safe blue state when I did it, when I knew it wasn't going to be a close election. I knew Bill Clinton was going to beat Bob Dole, so I voted for Ralph Nader in New York State.
Right. This is do or die.
If I was in Florida, I wouldn't have done it.
Yes,
exactly.
yes, right. So you have to come out. And I think with the way things are going right now, that I believe that there's going to be more. I think people are going to come out, because of the way that he mishandled. I mean, now, again, we're talking about countless amounts of deaths. I don't even know what the numbers are, okay? But this man...
60,000.
60,000.
It's really, I'm sorry, 160,000, but it's really well over 200,000. I mean, if you count...
Not if you don't get tested, sweetie.
Right, but if you count non-COVID deaths, okay? Just take all the COVID deaths out. There's still over, I believe, between 50 and 100,000 more deaths from mid-March to mid-May than there was last year. So many people have died, and it have been just cause of death was pneumonia, right? Or influenza. So, we don't even know what the accurate numbers here. It's already well over 200,000, and it will be over 250,000 by Election Day.
And my point is that he doesn't give a shit.
He doesn't.
And I think
That's what people have to understand is he doesn't care.
He doesn't care. And I think that's going to be the gravitational pull of reality for a lot of people. And it's going to get them to the polls. I really, really believe that, because of what happened. And we're not even counting in the deaths, John, that I have two friends that are nurses, one that works at NYU and another one that works here. And she said that people, and also Steve's son is a fireman. He said people were coding because they had people stay at home, told them to isolate, not come to the hospital, and they were dying in their homes. So a lot of people were dying of other complications that were they were dying of complications due to corona, but also they were dying because they couldn't get the necessary help that they needed.
On the average, the city removes an average of 24 dead bodies a day from residences. New York City removes an average of 24 dead bodies a day from residences. In March and April, it was over 150 a day. And they weren't all diagnosed as COVID. So, the numbers, Trump's right about one thing. The numbers are wrong. It's just they're much higher than we've been told.
They're much higher.
Yeah. And you're right. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about his supporters. He doesn't care about Wall Street. He doesn't care about the unemployment numbers. He cares about making the pain go away long enough to feel good. He cares about getting through the day. He doesn't care about
making the pain go away.
He cares about surviving. No, his own pain. His own pain. Having a monster for a father.
Right.
He's raised his kids the same way he was raised, without any love or empathy, not knowing what a real man is. His father was Roy Cohn, for God's sakes. He's Roy Cohn's Sith apprentice. We can't forget that. But he doesn't care about conservative values or Christianity, and he really doesn't care about the unemployment numbers. He cares about winning. And sometimes that means surviving the news cycle, and sometimes that means getting reelected so he can't be indicted in February of 2021.
And it always means cheating, because when you need to win, you don't give a fuck how you do it. Absolutely. Yeah. We're running out of time. John, I love you so much. I miss you. And it's so good. I love you and Frank together just talking. I could just listen to you guys for hours. You're amazing.
Well, we did it for 4 years.
We did it for 4 years, and it's so nice to have you guys. I just love this because I haven't been on a show with either one of you, and let alone together.
I believe you're both going to be on the show next week, right? I believe you're both going to be on the show next week.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
We're totally on. But John, your video is so great. So we're running out of time. I want tell people what you're working on and where they can find your video.
Well, the videos, if you want to see the videos, you have right now, I'm making a special of all the stuff I've been filming all summer, and that's going to be out in the fall. And it's on the streets of New York during the lockdown and the reopening, all shot on a phone.
Oh my God! I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Yeah, it started out being a way to do stand up on the streets. Now it's turning into a way to retire my Trump material, I hope. That's going to be available in the fall, so maybe you'll have me back to pimp it. In the meantime,
totally.
If you want to see the short versions of it, you can go to sexyliberal.com or runtheworld.com and buy the first 2 Sexy Liberal Tour virtual shows. The first one is with Rob Reiner, the second is with Joy Reid. And that's Hal Sparks and Frangela and Stephanie Miller and myself. But that's where I put like a 20-minute version that I sent to you guys.
Oh, great.
So
and then
amazing.
The Sirius XM every night at what the fuck o'clock until holy shit o'clock, and then hopefully we'll see what the fall brings.
Well, I love it, John.
Right.
I thank you so much for coming on. You're amazing. I love this show. I loved your videos. I'm telling you, I'm going to say it once again. I can't believe the footage is incredible. I can't believe it was shot with your phone. I love even the parts that you inject or insert about your son and little things that you're getting personal, and then you're making it very broad and talking about and showing these scenes in the city. Amazing, sweetie.
Thanks so much, John.
Frank, what do you want to plug? Anything?
We'll plug. We're just about out of time. We'll plug my stuff next time.
All right. We love
Frank's
you,
books.
John.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
We'll
Take care. Bye-bye. See you soon. Stay safe.